Welcome to the Cat Power Podcast, where we deliver powerful insights into the world of cat marine, showcasing the latest in technological advancements and highlighting the stories of the industry's most dynamic leaders. I'm your host, Sergio Tejeda. Now let's get ready to power up with the Cat Power Podcast. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Cat Power Podcast. So good to have you here. You can catch each and every episode on the YouTube Caterpillar Marine channel, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you love to listen to your podcast. You can catch us each episode there. Robert Allan Tugs is here with us today. We got the project manager for that company, Allan Turner. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Glad to talk with you today about
All
Tugs.
right. So, Allan, where are you located right now? I'm down in Miami. I think you're on the other side of the continent.
Yeah, we're based out of Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Fantastic.
So
and
that's our main office.
Yeah. So Robert Allan Ltd is one of the most legendary companies out there, especially in the tug industry. So, and you are a proud member of that family, and so it has a long heritage of a lot of success and tremendous influence in the industry. So tell me a little bit about the history of the company. Tell me kind of how it got started and where it is today.
Sure. So Robert Allan Ltd was founded in around 1930 in Vancouver by the original Robert Allan. He was a one-man show for the first few years of the business through the war, and eventually the second Robert Allan joined the company after the war, and it sort of slowly grew from there. The third Robert Allan, the most well-known, joined in the late 70s, early 80s, and he's the one that sort of really took the company international with some projects for which are still good clients. Ostenjo out of Norway. That was our probably first really big international project. And that sort of got us recognized by more and more international clients. And it's really sort of grown from there to one of the main players in the global tug industry. There's roughly 90 to 100 tugs of our design built every year through lots of good shipyard partners in Turkey and China and Europe and the US.
Well, working for a company that you feel a sense of ownership, not only literally, but figuratively as well, is really important, because you have pride in what you do, even more so than if you were working for a company you didn't have ownership in. And so this company has become internationally recognized and is doing some amazing things. So tell me about your role within Robert Allan.
So I'm a mechanical engineer by education, mechanical engineer, professional engineer. So I'm responsible for the main technical design. Being a mechanical engineer, I'm more related to the sort of marine systems, the engines, anything that spins or makes noise is the best way to describe it. And then I have counterparts on the naval architect side that, they look after, the boat stability and structure and things like that. So it's very much a team effort between the two groups to come up with these designs, and actually working with our good shipyard and tug clients. They have lots of good ideas too. So it's really a good collaboration between all involved.
So you mentioned things that spin and make noise. That's usually tied to engines, right? And engines are tied to NOx particulates and performance and so forth. So you're at the heart of the beast, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And as the industry has changed over time, regulations come in, and things get tougher, right? Standards are harder to meet and so forth. And so how are you seeing that change in the industry? Where are you guys now in terms of how you need to think? What are the priorities? What are the things that operators are asking for and companies are asking for these days?
Yeah, so definitely emissions, that came in, roughly it really started like 10 years ago, and it slowly built and now it's almost streamlined. It's not really that big of a concern. We know how to deal with it. So, but that the mission sort of took care of NOx and particulates and hydrocarbon. But the new thing that is this starting to build is carbon reduction for sort of global greenhouse carbon gas emissions. So, the next big thing in our industry is sort of alternative powering options, whether that be fuels or electrification, battery, and then how the diesel engine works in with that. I don't foresee the diesel engine going anywhere. It'll be around for time to come. So it's really this, looking at ways of reducing that sort of greenhouse gas footprint for these vessels.
So that was
big challenge.
When Tier 4 came in. And so, what were the biggest issues that were concerning you guys when you said, okay, we got to start putting in these Tier 4 engines in there? What are some of the biggest issues with that?
The main concern back then was we didn't really know what this thing called the SCR looked like and how it would fit in our vessel, how it would work. We're a little concerned about would it have any impact on performance of the vessel, because the ability of a tug to react to a situation in terms of engine acceleration is pretty critical for their operation, especially when they're operating at escort tugs. So things like that was a concern, and probably the big concern was the space and fitting it. And we'd seen some early designs where they had been fit with SCRs, and the vessel is basically all funnel because the SCR has been located in the funnel, and then that sort of blocks the sight lines of a tug. So it's very important on tugs, the operator can see all the way around himself. He's not obstructed by physical barriers, so they can, when they're maneuvering in tight spots. So that was a very critical concern going forward, and how they would work with the silencers and our mufflers in maintaining our noise and sound isolation in the vessel, which has also become pretty critical for crew comfort and things like that. So there's a lot of things that were this unknown, and we were interested in seeing how it would affect our designs.
Yeah, as a new technology is brought in, obviously it's very important to work hand in hand with companies like you, right? Tell people a little bit about SCR. What does it mean? What does it do? And what was your role with Caterpillar as you guys were combining forces to develop the right solution?
Looking this up, I believe it was like 2011 or 2012. CAT sent around a letter to various naval architects in North America saying, this is coming. We'd like your feedback and thoughts on it. And so, we took that to heart, and they gave us some early information package of sort of what the SCR would look like, its sort of sizes and dimensions. And so we, within Robert Allan, we took that and looked at how we did some sort of basic concept work with our existing tug designs, how it would work, what configurations worked the best. And then I believe we did send the information to CAT, and then their engineering team did a sort of a circuit around the North America, visiting all the naval architects, and they came to us. We had a good meeting with them, and we had arranged to go and visit one of the local C-SPAN tugs. It was a recent delivery from one of our Turkish shipyards, so it was sort of one of the more latest advanced designs. So we could show them, physically what the challenge was. From that, we came up with some good ideas of what configurations worked the best, particularly for tugs. And it sort of went from there.
That's fantastic. And some of the technology that you guys have obviously used quite a bit with the Z Drive and ZTech. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so In terms of Z-drive propulsion or azimuth thruster, that's pretty much 99% of our tug designs have that. So it's basically a rotatable propeller pod. On there's normally two of them in the stern of the tug. So it's sort of the most common tug propulsion. And the ZTech is one of our designs that was developed in around 2004 or 5, and it's primarily for import terminal operations, where it sort of takes the best features of what's commonly referred to as a tractor tug in the industry and azimuth stern drive tug, and combine them together to provide a sort of a tug that's ideally suited for harbor operations, working under the flare of large car carriers, container ships, naval vessels. So it's just, and the wheelhouse is set a bit further aft from the main fender, so that allows it to get under the flare of these big vessels. And just the hull configuration allows sort of better ship handling in these tight spaces. There's good visibility around the tug, so it was a very unique design, and it's been widely accepted in a lot of the big ports in the world. They're widely used in the port of Singapore. In one of our good U.S. clients in Port of Houston, I think they're almost up to 30 of them operating around the Port of Houston and the Gulf of Mexico. And then the U.S. Navy has about 10 or so of them operating at various naval bases. And so it's been a very successful design for us, and the operators that use them, they love them. So,
And as the technology changes and progresses, and you get more power, and then fewer emissions, fewer NOx, and fuel savings as well. There's design changes, right, that need to happen to where the engine compartment is because of the additional SCR, right? And how does that affect that space design? And when you're thinking about that, tell me about that process.
yeah, so definitely one of the things that worked out quite well from our original design meeting with Cat was the configuration, or the basic idea of the SCR was to be able to make at least a 90-degree, but preferably a 180-degree turn within the SCR. So that sort of one design feature so far has allowed us to fit it in our tug designs without significant redesign issues. So we've had a few designs where maybe the deck house has to be a bit higher, or the funnel casing is a bit wider or something. But overall, the design impacts on the tug have been manageable, particularly for the CAT solution. A lot of them, we're putting them in sort of what we call the deckhead area, so above the engines. So there tends to be quite a bit of height in the engine room there. And we're using primarily the U-flow configuration, so sticking in the deckhead, and it comes up and just circles back and then goes up the funnel. So so far it's worked out very well for the designs in the sort of size range that they're available for.
And the great thing about it is that it's completely separated from the engine. And so there's no change to the engine per se in terms of reliability and power when you need it, right? Because that's probably one of the most important things that you can ask for as an operator is reliability. And when you need the power, it's there. There's no compromise in terms of like how the engine's running. You're not changing anything inside. It's all kind of afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. And even if you did have a fault within the SCR system, this engine is still there to run. that is very important for tugs because they are essentially a safety device themselves for large ships. So, you don't want to have a vessel go down for some minor fault. So it does sort of improve overall harbor safety, you could say.
You mentioned earlier the experience for the operators as well in terms of sound.
Yeah.
Not only NOx particulates, right? But now they want to be a bit more comfortable, and they want to,
Yeah.
it's not as rough of a ride and as a life as it used to be, right? And how important is that to operators?
Yeah. So that's become very important in terms of this resiliently mounting all the mains or reciprocating machinery in the vessel, uh, taking care of the sort of noise or sound levels out of the exhaust system like that. Because if you notice on all tugs, the exhaust stacks are almost always right by the wheelhouse. So the operator's there. So it's very important design aspect as well. So and it's a lot easier on the crews to or work on a vessel that's quieter. You don't get as tired. They're more alert for longer, and it's crew retention is also a big thing. So you want comfortable vessels for your crew, so you can retain them and avoid sort of labor shortages.
Especially nowadays, right? Is that industry also experiencing what we're experiencing in all industries where there's a shortage of skilled labor?
Yeah, that's my general understanding, but I believe it was a problem before the pandemic as well. So
Okay.
I'm sure that exacerbated the situation. Probably depends what tug operator you are talking about in what part of the world, but yeah.
What about the issue with the DEF supply? Are your customers able to get what they need?
Yeah, we've never heard of a significant issue with that because the emissions regulations, marine sort of lags a little bit behind, like maybe construction equipment or on highway. So they sort of come in first, and the DEF supply is figured out for them. And then marine, it's really just a case of this has to be delivered to a dock instead
Right.
of a fuel station or something. So yeah, as far as we understand, it hasn't been a significant issue for any of our clients.
So what does the next 90 years look like? I mean, you guys have come 90 years now, and maybe you can't forecast the 90 out, but what's on the horizon in terms of the industry? What do you see happening?
Yeah, definitely the big thing will be decarbonization of the vessels, and how to do that with alternative fuels or electrification, uh, battery power, or working with diesel and electrical to come up with designs that this eventually meet the zero carbon content or goal of many countries. So that's sort of starting right now. That's the big topic in the industry, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it's exciting times, definitely for mechanical engineer, because that's our sort of bread and butter of design is all these systems that propel the vessel. So yeah, it'll be interesting at least next 20 years anyway.
It's great to see you guys partnering up with Caterpillar on this effort, and I think it's providing a lot of great benefits to a lot of organizations worldwide and just the industry in general, and moving it forward together. And that's the way to do it. So, Allan, congratulations on all your success and all the designs that you've helped create, and you see them out there working in the water. That's fantastic, and congratulations to the entire Robert Allan Limited team who have done some amazing work over the last 90 years, and best of luck for the next 90.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And yeah, Caterpillar's been a very good partner to work with. We're a sort of independent firm, but we work with all suppliers. So Cat's been very supportive with technology and technical information transfer, and I think it's been mutually beneficial to both Cat and us. So it's a good partnership to keep going.
Fantastic. All right, Allan, thanks for being on the Cat Power podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you love this, and share it with a friend who needs to see it or hear it. Thanks, guys. And until next time, signing off.